F in the chat says Demon Slayer box office did $617 million when Superman, who is the biggest American film of the year, did 615. Immediately after that, Trump got the tariffs for non-U.S. films and media. Nobody's talking about
Yeah,
that.
it's over.
What you're saying that like if Demon Slayer got to America, we would it would have made more money or something like that.
No, it did come to America, and it did make more money. Essentially,
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah,
that's what
yeah,
he's
yeah.
saying.
Okay, it made more money. Huh. I mean,
I mean,
that's. I want some.
America.
I need somebody to study that. I want to read a book about that. That would be a very interesting read of like this current
Uh,
phenomenon of like how big, like why is this thing so big? And he said, "Not on my
I
watch." And
think.
bonk. True.
I think. In all fairness, like we've seen people have seen Superman so many times. Like Demon Slayer just came out. If you think about it in the grand scheme of like content, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
So
true.
like the what is it? The what do you call that?
True. That's also very true. Cause like I don't remember
The
like
newness is still there.
yeah, the newness is
Eh,
still there. Like yeah, Superman's been around for like 100 years, so that's true. And Demon Slayer's like been around since like 10 like a tenth of that time.
exactly. So when you think about it that way, it's like yeah, why would I go see Superman again when I can see Demon Slayer?
Wait, when did
You know
Demon?
what I mean?
I'm trying to see like when did Demon Slayer like hit the
Fucking
scene?
like 2014,
Yeah,
maybe
2016.
even exactly. So you see them like a decade,
Yeah,
barely.
yeah, 9 years.
Yeah, come on, dog.
Like a tenth of like Superman's lifespan.
Yeah, so when you think about it that way, it's like yeah, it's like yeah, of course that's gonna do bigger things. People love Demon Slayer. It's new, it's fresh. I don't know, like I don't know, man. Shit. I mean, like I'm not saying that Superman movie was bad. I liked it. It wasn't like it was bad or whatever. James Gunn did a good job, but I don't know, man. It's not. It's not people. People
There's
don't want to see the comic book shit anymore. It's over.
I think people do. I think people care about the comic book stuff. It's just I think they're doing this a little very late, but they're very slow when it comes to passing the torch to lesser known superheroes.
That's what I think. That's what James Gunn. That's the good part about him is that he really does like digs. He digs deep in the like trenches looking for like characters to like use kind of thing.
Yeah,
Huh. Because like there was this weird like unspoken rule where it's just like it's like yeah, everybody likes Captain America, everyone likes Superman, everyone likes Iron Man, all these characters or whatever, everyone likes Spider Man and shit. And it's like, and we don't want anything different, period. But like with things like Guardians of the Galaxy and all those comic book movies kind of getting their shine, it is kind of proving that no, we can get new stuff and still like it. It has to be good though. Kind of
yeah.
dismantling that broken rule.
I I also think that I don't know. I I also think that like it that old age old thing about movies just resonating with the audience like in a deeper like more fundamental level in the sense that I don't think anime has been corrupted as much as like Western media.
Oh no, yeah,
You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
Because like I've been going on. I wouldn't say I've been on a deep dive, but I've been like on a binge of just looking at people's interpretations of how like Western movies have just for the past like 20, 30 years have just been subversive in the sense of
Yeah.
it like they hate like the writers just hate their like the, not even the audience just their demographic of like white people or whatever and like the audience just eat it up because it's a story. The whole point of a story is for people to like engage it with it on a surface level, but like the whole
Yeah.
meaning of like the story is like made by people who deeply hate the demographic of the people who watch it, which
Yeah,
is
there is this weird. I was talking to my brother about this the other day, where it's like every superhero story now has this weird sarcasm irony thing to it. It's almost like hippie millennials from like the 2010 era have like gotten to movies. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm
yeah.
just like, oh, we're doing this because it's ironic or whatever, or like, like just heavy sarcasm, and it's annoying as shit. Like, I don't. That's why like the boys kind of like fell off for me or whatever, or like I really don't. I think the quality dropped because like that like irony of or like the sarcasm element of it is very like I don't know, it poisons you. I think I had the conversation with you a long time ago. Like it was like maybe when I was like 20 or 19. I think we were talking about like just like how me and you used to be in the internet thing or whatever, in the internet group or whatever the hell. And I think I remember telling you about how like the irony poisoning, like the internet culture of being like irony poisoned, like really got to me at some point. And I was just like, I'm off the internet now. I
Oh
don't give a
yeah.
fuck about all this.
Oh yeah, and like when that black school shooter like released a manifesto, we understood like the majority of what he said about like just being
Literally,
irony
yeah,
poisoned, and we're like, wow, that's weird.
yeah.
like that was such a bizarre moment when we were like reading his manifesto, and we're like, oh,
Because no,
that's
because it's like
crazy.
it's neither of us would shoot up a school, but it's like I'm like, oh yeah, I've been that kid before.
I'm
Like, you
like,
know what I mean? I'm just like, oh yeah, like yeah, let's joke about this or fuck this or say this, like yeah, that gets you after a point.
yeah,
You just become a fucking shell of yourself because you can't deal with anything real. All it is escapism under the guise
humor,
of like sticking it, yeah,
like
not even just humor, but like sticking it to what you consider like your authoritative figure. Like, you know what I'm saying?
hmm
I was like, yeah, I'm tired of that shit. You know what I mean? I got tired of it early though. I was lucky I stopped when I was like 18, maybe 19.
right.
Cause like yeah, that could have went that shit. I could have ended up like that kid. Like I would never shoot again. Like I would never shoot up a school, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like being that like uh separated from yourself. You know what I mean? To the point where anything can go. Is
Yeah,
like yeah.
I mean,
That's
like,
really what happened to that kid.
I mean,
You know?
that kid also really hated being black. Like really hated being black because of his parents, which is
Yeah,
like
that's
bizarre.
that's what
No,
happens to you
true,
when you can't fucking understand who you are.
true, yeah, very true.
Yeah, and it doesn't help, yeah, that he's on 4chan where like saying the N word or saying like retard or whatever is like that's nothing to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like yeah, that doesn't help. Yeah, he was kind of doomed from the start not to be like negative, but it was just like yeah, he was done. No one was watching him. No one was watching him. No one showed him the way.
F's in the chat. Hope you don't get offended, but USA Comic Space forgot about like telling good stories and went mostly pushing a narrative. I don't agree with that. I 100% don't agree with
Me
that.
either.
It
I
shifted
don't.
it shifted from a narrative that everybody likes to a narrative that's just deeply subversive to make people like what they don't like.
Yeah,
It's like the
yeah.
narrative went from hey guys be good to hey guys your parents are evil, your pastors want to molest you, and we're actually good storytellers, and this is fact. This is that's
Yeah.
like it went from like telling stories that were just fundamentally like just universally understood for everybody living in the West, like universally, like because like USA comics weren't just big in the US, they were just big everywhere. I think right, but it
Yeah.
was everybody that had like a moral like a foundational, like I would say Christian moral background, because because Christian in like the Western world, Christianity is like the pillar narrative that like everybody gets
Top
their
tier.
yeah. I wouldn't, yeah, it's just top tier because like that basically shaped nearly every modern civilization, even though when civilizations go away from it, they still have that foundation of like what is good and what is good and what is bad from those stories. So it wasn't until like
Hmm.
later that everybody, that people like outside of that idea, outside of that flock, was like, actually no, this is we're gonna put in a new narrative. We're going to elevate the loser and hate the people who are naturally good, and that and like and we're just gonna subvert everything because everybody, because like they're gonna sell it to us saying people are tired of good guys winning, which is not true. Like
No, no one's ever. n- No one can ever get tired of that because of the amount of bad things that happen in the world. There's like no way to get tired of the good guys winning because the good
I,
guys don't always win.
yeah, I think that was the reason why I think it was because I didn't really finish The Boys, or I didn't really like it, because I mean I watched like a couple of seasons, but I think I didn't even finish
Hmm.
like the newest season, because I remember I was like talking to one of my friends, one of my mutuals, or mutual, my friend, because you barely know him. Well, whatever. Um, but I was like telling him that I didn't really want to watch it anymore because it was just saying like bad guys are not even bad guys, like there are no good guys in the world. And I'm like, no. Like it's easy to say that when you're living in reality because you're so limited in information, right? But when you're giving
Hmm.
a narrative, the whole point of a narrative is to say this is guy is good, and this is why they do what they do, and this is the bad guy, and this is why they do what they do. Like in a narrative and story, and that goes to history, that goes to the news, that goes to like every time you're trying to tell a story, you're trying to give information of what these are the memes, and I'm saying memes as like the Richard Dawkins sense, like these are the
Yeah,
behaviors,
mimetic.
these are the
Yeah,
memetics that needs to be passed down from generation to generation of why things happen the way that they happen. And it's like right now when people say things are being pushed a narrative, that's people just realizing that everything has always been a narrative. It's just been a narrative that everybody agreed with. And I'm not saying that's
yeah.
bad. The narrative that everybody, going back to the point where like everybody was being told a narrative that they didn't agree with and everybody was asleep, that was probably a really good time to be alive. because
It's
because
probably
you
awesome.
yeah, it probably was awesome because you weren't being subverted every time you would look at a screen or a billboard. You know what I
I
mean?
saw I saw an interview with Quentin Tarantino. It was like a really small clip, and he was talking about how cinema has been destroyed, n- not necessarily because
Oh, you're
of
roboting.
whatever. And
You're roboting a little bit.
all right, hold on. Can you hear me a little better?
Yeah.
All right. But Quentin Tarantino was talking about how like cinema has been ruined, not specifically for some like insert why media is bad here, but he mentioned that like movies in general were made for the working man,
Yes.
and everybody's been priced out of movies. So now the people who see movies want to see the shit that we see in theaters,
Hmm.
you know? And he was talking about how that like they kind of like messed with him a bit because he's like, well, it's like when you went to see a movie, you meant to see a story after work. Like it wasn't like a thing where like, you know what I mean? You had to like prepare for it and do all this extra blah 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 or whatever. You had to pay like $30 for a ticket. I was like, no, it's like you paid like 50 cents and you went to see a flick and then you left. You know, it was way
Yeah.
more simple, kind of thing. It was easier to live.
That was.
Now it's like,
Go ahead.
yeah, no, sorry, I was finished.
No, no, you were gonna say now everything's like X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, 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 essentially.
Okay, that reminds me of like I remember I was reading a really really old book that well listening to an audiobook that said the exact same thing of it was more about theater, right? Like the theater
Yeah.
was a place for the working man to see their life reflected to them, and like the only people who are gonna watch like theater or being involved in theater was just people that's getting off of work and they wanted to see a show that they can interact with. Because when you were an actor back in those theater days, you're going to be heckled. You were going to be heckled, so you weren't really training
Yeah,
to say
they
your
just hated
line.
you.
Yeah, you weren't training to say your lines. You're training to like interact with the audience because they were there because they were bored
Yeah.
and they just wanted a good time.
No,
Oh
it's a
man.
fact. That's even a fact with like stand up. Like even when I've only done like very few stand up shows. I used to do theater though. I used to do improv and stuff like that. Like all the rules are based off this like every rule that you learn in acting
Hmm.
from my experience with acting, any rule that you learn with acting is all based around interacting with the audience. You face the audience, you say your lines towards the audience, even if you're talking towards another person. Being stuck in the scene is not you being stuck in your own world. You're being stuck in the world with the audience. You want the audience to feel what you're feeling. You feel what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think like that is almost kind of separated now because of video, because there is a like there's literally like a fourth dimensional wall between you and the audience, so you don't have to feel what they're feeling until after you're finished. You know what I mean? Which is kind of the trick of being an actor, which is why you kind of have to be insane to be an actor. You know what I'm saying? Because you kind of have to like you have to accept what they give you or whatever, and they're totally correct. That's the funny thing about like criticism, things like that nature. Like people talk about criticism like, oh man, like you know what I mean, god, like no one can enjoy anything anymore. It's like no, 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 they're completely correct because you're showing them something.
Yeah.
It's not like they went and asked you to make a thing. You are providing them with this content and they have to like react to it. So yeah, if they say you suck a dick, it's just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's just
Yeah.
part of the thing.
If they say you suck dick, you gotta get off your knees, bro.
Yeah, no, swear to God, like you know, like for real, like you just gotta get off your knees. That is what it is. Get off your fucking knees and do it again and show us like dick this time. Nah, dead ass. No, for real. Because it's
You
like
can't
people.
you can't be complaining while you're still on your knees, bro.
Yeah, yeah. How you gonna complain when you're on your knees, bro? Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? That's what Chris Brown said. It's like, how you gonna hate from outside the club? You can't even get in. You know. But like, no, it's
uh,
like that line has been blurred with like YouTube and like TikTok, where like now with like TikTok and like uh Instagram and all that type of stuff, it is kind of getting back into like peanut gallery era of theater where
mhm.
like you get the criticism kind of like on the fly, but there is still that like separation between like that fourth dimensional wall between you guys, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And no matter how hard you try to break that down, you never really can unless you're literally on stage,
Right.
you know. And I think that's why I remember Zach Kreger, who directed Weapons and shit or whatever, and he's in the Whitest Kids or whatever. I remember I saw an interview with him and he said like, yeah, if you want to do sketch or whatever, you have to go on stage. Like there's no if, ands, or buts about it. Like that's the best way you're gonna learn how to act, because you have to literally like you have to stay in character. You have to basically bring the audience with you. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And like transferring that onto screen is hard, but it's easier if you know how to bring a world to an audience and keep an audience in the world. You know,
Yeah.
like that fourth dimensional wall is always going to be there, but if you can use all of your power to bring an audience into the world through the fourth dimensional wall, like that's where you've really like reached the pinnacle of acting, kind of thing. When people can not just believe that you are who you say you are, but just believe that you are doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Believe in the actions, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what it means to be an actor. You're doing an action,
Right. Right. Right.
you know?
F.
Anyway, I'm just
Yeah.
rambling.
F said no deep stories or stories that hit you in the gut, but not the sense of gore or cruelty, but doing stories that respond to the people that read it and make a generation reflect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that's what I was talking about when it came to universal, like a universal understanding of more of like narratives of storytelling, because I always think back to this. I think back to this more often than I probably should, but there was a reason. I remember somebody said was complaining that there are no new stories anymore, and
Hmm.
that's because there shouldn't be like, not that there can't be new stories, but there shouldn't be shouldn't be new stories in a way, because every like to tell something that is new, you're basically giving making the audience like have you're giving the audience homework to learn
Yeah.
new archetypes, to learn new things, and people don't want to do that. People like what they are familiar with. It's supposed to reflect the audience. Like I remember I forgot where I learned about this specifically, but I think it was like when I was like listening to Persona. Somebody like breaking down
Hmm.
Persona and the whole tarot cards, and explaining how every tarot card is basically a character archetype, and
Hmm.
people reflect on like archetypes so much because everybody sees themselves and the people around them, that they can fit into like a one-dimensional archetype so well, to the point that it
Yeah.
stays for centuries. This archetype stays for not even centuries, but like for like millennia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like in order to tell those quote unquote new stories, you're trying to reinvent the wheel with your like what 70 year life expectancy. You're trying to summarize or like tell a fragment of the human condition all over again, and like with that, when you're like 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years old. No, you're not. You will never do
Yeah.
that. So you take those building blocks. You don't play with Legos by making new Legos. You don't like you don't play with Legos by making new pieces. You make
Yeah.
what you take with what you have, and then you make something that looks like something that everybody is familiar with, and they'll be like, "Yo, that is like that. That's awesome." And you just make things.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a This writing shit is definitely like a weird job in a way, because yeah, you basically are just like constantly copying. Like it's just you're just stealing all day, and like nobody would ever wants to really admit it, which is why like I do appreciate a Tarantino in a way where it's like, oh, like he really like embraces that aspect of writing, which is a very important aspect of writing, which is like he knows how to copy. Like, and
Yeah.
he copies a lot. If you ever watch a Tarantino movie, like for real, like I implore you guys to really like sit down and watch a Tarantino movie, and then like look up a video where it's like there's like tons of videos and like interviews where he's like pointing out where he's copied certain scenes or whatever the fuck. It's like almost egregious. It's literally like it's like one-to-one scene. Sometimes you're like, damn, like you really don't give a fuck. Like, but
No,
like
I
it is
remember.
part of the writing process.
No, like I remember, like Star Wars was like the exact same thing. Like when Star Wars came out, I no. It was like I forgot there was like two movies. I remember there's two movies. There was a Western movie and a samurai movie. I remember the samurai movie came first.
Oh,
There was a samurai movie
yeah.
that came first, and then like when the director of that samurai movie watched that Western movie, he was like, "Yeah, that's a good movie because it was my movie." Like,
Yeah, no, I know exactly. A fistful of dollars and Rochambeau. I think it was Rochambeau or Khan or something. Yeah, no, like there was an Italian director that loved westerns, and he saw Rochambeau or whatever the movie was called, and just stole the whole movie. And then people were like, it was to a point where like, yeah, they I think they even tried to sue or something. There was like some type of case or whatever, to the point where it's like anytime you see a fistful of dollars anywhere, like it says something like based off of that samurai movie or whatever. But yeah, no, the director did come out and was like, yo, this movie is fire. Like he was like, yo, this is kind of tight. I'm fucking with it.
yeah.
Like he didn't care.
um,
It's like, yeah, people steal all the time, man.
I love it when people are like, "Yeah, it's cool," but it's like, but it's mine.
Yeah.